Hello and welcome to Gaming with Zombie. Today, we're going to look at how to make a character. Hello, Samus. Thank you for huffing back there. That's helpful. So this episode's going to be a little bit quieter. I don't really have any sound going. And the reason why is because I wanted this to be a little more calm. Basically, what we're going to look at is a program that I like to use called herolab. Chill out, Samus. So herolab is basically Dungeons and Dragons. It actually has a shit ton of game options, but it's basically something that allows you to keep track of your characters and also to create new characters. It's a really good app. I think it's available on, well, I know it's available on iPad, but I think you can also get it on Android stuff now, maybe. I'm not real sure about that. I know they were working on it, but I don't know if it ever came out because I've been using it on my computer and laptop. But basically what this is it lets you purchase books that have certain classes, characters, items, monsters, so on and so forth, and then it keeps track of all of that information and makes it accessible to you while you're building your character. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off and make a character. Now, I have a game coming up sometime in the future that I'm planning on playing, and I wanted to do something dumb because I like making stupid characters, and I'm not necessarily always super concerned for them being incredibly powerful as much as I am concerned with them being fun or stupid and entertaining. So let's get started. First things first, when you're creating a character, it's great to have a name. I'm super bad at naming characters. They're usually really plain or far too complicated, such as Barbones. Barbones was Bard and Bones. Haha, Barbones. It's dumb, but it's easy and I can keep track of who my people are. So, for today, and the character that I'm building, we're going to name our man. Let's see. How about Tough Man Rando the Savage. As you can guess, I'm sort of modeling this character just a little bit off of Macho Man Randy Savage, and we're going to be starting at level 1. We are an ally of party, so we are going to be, you can see, enemy of party, neutral to party, so non-player character, or an enemy, or a party character. We're going to do pick/roll abilities. Basically what this lets you do is you can pick what your scores are going to be, or you can roll for them, or you can purchase your things. So low fantasy, you get 10 points and you can spend them however you want on the various stats. Some games will do this. It's sort of easier. It lets you build a character the way you want to build a character. This is great for min-maxing or minimizing the bad things and maximizing the good things. NPC, if you want to have basic crap non-player characters, or if you want like heroic badass NPCs, monsters, things of that nature. So we're going to go with roll/pick ability scurs. And this stuff, you can sort of ignore a lot of this. This is going to have like various things that you can do. These are all a bunch of books that I don't have, but you can do whatever you want. This basically, if you have a DM that has already picked out how they want their game to run, this will let you say, okay, they're going to use these books and allow for these things, and you can put that in there. But I'm just doing really basic, not society, but just very basic, whatever you want to do for your shit. So here's where you're going to start off. Currently, we have no race, 0 HP, an AC of 10, because that's sort of your starting armor class, and no monies. So you can sort of go about things how you want, but I like to start with my level. So you get 1 level free, obviously, because everybody starts off as level 1. And here are your available classes. There are a shit ton of them. You have prestige classes. Prestige classes require that you have a certain number of class levels in something else, or a condition met to allow you to be them. For example, an Eldritch Knight requires proficiency with all martial weapons and the ability to cast third level arcane spells. Now, what does that mean? That means that you could be a warrior, you could have warrior levels and then sorcerer levels, or things of that nature. Basically, you're going to buy into stuff that will give you third level arcane spells, and then once you have these two conditions met, you can start taking Eldritch Knight class levels. And, this will show you what this gets you. So when you take an Eldritch Knight class level, you're going to get a D10 worth of hit points. So that means, depending on how you're playing your game, you will either get the maximum or 10 hit points every time you get a level, so your max hit points go up by 10, or you get the average, which I think on a D10 is like 7 or 6. I can't remember offhand, but all of that information's online, depending on how you want to do it, or you can just roll a D10, and whatever number pops up is the number of hit points that you gain into your max hit point pool. So what I want to do, since I'm going to be playing Tough Man Rando the Savage, I'm thinking that I want unarmed combat as well as a little bit of bard, because, that showmanship is real important. So there are a few things that I could do with that. A really good one, I feel, would be taking some monk levels. Monks have unarmed combat as one of their abilities. So normally when you have unarmed combat, you can't really hurt things. You can deal damage to them, but it's not fatal damage. It's just you can knock someone unconscious, but you can't beat them to death. If you have unarmed combat, well, actually, you can straight up beat someone to death. So that's a good thing, and I feel like that would be great as a flavor for Tough Man Rando the Savage. So the question is, do I want to go ahead and build Monk, or do I want to go ahead and start Bard? I feel like Monk is probably going to be a stronger place to start. Because, they are a little bit... Well, they both get a D8. So, really, it's hard to say. I'm going to go with Monk as my starting class. Now, there are a few things that sometimes will change depending on how your house game runs. You do have this thing called Gestalt characters, and they're kind of tough but really fun, but so ridiculously overpowered. A Gestalt character starts off with 2 levels, but both of them are level 1. So you would have a level 1 monk and level 1 bard, and you can have both of those at once and get the benefits from both of them, but you're still only a level 1 character. But a Gestalt character would have more power, because they're going to, instead of getting 1d8 hit dice, they're getting 2d8 hit dice. So if you're going to be playing a Gestalt game, which you can, just remember that your characters are going to be way tougher, so you're going to have to make much tougher bad guys to be a threat. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my 1 monk level, and there you go. So what this shows you is you get an HP of 8. So your first level, you automatically get your max hit die worth of hit points for your character. So 8 for a character who gets a D8. Favored class, you can get bonuses by having a favored class. if you're doing multiple classes, you can pick the class that you're going to be putting more levels into and make use of that. So right now, I'm just not really going to worry about that. It's not really a concern. So here this tells you, and this is one of the great things about herolab, is it actually tells you the information that you need and even where to find it. So your class starts with 1d6 times 10 gold. What does that mean? That means you get out your handy dandy dice-a-roonies, you grab your d6, you get 1d6 times 10. I got a 4, so that means I'm going to get 40 gold to start with. What's the point of that? Well, it's important because a lot of times your character is going to have their shit with them. You're going to start with equipment. Not all the time, but a lot of times you're going to be starting with a certain set of things. So, that's good to have. So let's go ahead and hit accept. And so right now we know that we are a level 1 monk. We have 8 hit points and we have 40 gold. Now, that doesn't really tell us too terribly much. As you can see up here, because I have a favored bonus of 1 hit point, you can get 1 hit point or 1 skill point. We'll cover skill points in a minute. I have an HP of 9, so that's pretty good. Now, let's take a look at our background. This is going to be the nitty-gritty of who we are as a character. So, ooh, that was a snap, poppily, crackle, ow, painful. So, race. This is really important and can make or break some characters. Basically, you have your main class or main races. These are pretty much your main races in every single game. They're the most common races. Every game allows them pretty much. They're always there. So dwarf, elf, gnome, half orc, halfling, and human. Now, if you want to get crazy, you can build your own races. So this is actually a thing that had been covered before. There is a race that is turtle people, and I can't remember their names offhand. Like Kappa, I think is what they're called. But if you wanted to be a teenage ninja turtle, perhaps, you could actually build that and take ninja levels, and you can actually make a turtle class or a turtle race and be that. Samus, chill out, my dude. I know you're so excited. Chill. So you can do pretty much whatever you can think of. It is technically an option. Is it the best option as a starter? No, not necessarily, but it can be a lot of fun. Like my OB2, that was a custom race. We had to build that because it did not exist in here. You also have things like featured races. So these are races that would be considered maybe less common in the world, or just something a little more different. Azamar, those are angel type people. They're the offspring of angels and humans, basically. They're half celestial. Catfolk, Drow, that's a really popular, famous one. Those are dark elves, pretty much. Ifrits, which are sort of like fire people. They're related to fire elementals, if I recall properly. Basically, I mean, there's a shit ton of these things. Uncommon races, you can have androids or changelings, noble drows, gilman. There are just a shit ton of things that you could be. And if you're on a home game, you can really be anything that the DM says is okay. Now, one of the things that's really important is all of these have different stats, different bonuses, different perks and negatives. So for a dwarf, you're looking at a +2 constitution modifier, a +2 wisdom modifier, but a -2 charisma modifier. So what does that mean? Well, that means that you're a lot tougher, you are a lot wiser, but you're probably way less charming, and you're kind of an asshole. Also, one of the downsides to dwarves is they only move 20 feet, but they have a lot of other things that are really good for them. Now, for my character, I think I'm going to go with human. Just because, you know, tough man Rando the Savage strikes me as a human character. What's cool about humans is you actually get some. Instead of having like a +2 charisma, +2 whatever, you know, like the dwarf had -2 charisma but +2 to con and wisdom. With humans, you get to pick what you get a +2 with, and nothing is negative. Now, you don't get 2 positives and 1 negative, you get 1 positive, but nothing else is negative. So it tends to be that a lot of people play humans because they're easier to play and they are pretty beneficial. They're a very useful race for a lot of things that you're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and select the human. Now, alignment. You've probably seen a lot of things. If you're looking at this video, you probably know what alignment is. Lawful good. Justice is all. Honor is my armor. I can totally speak. Anyway, this is going to tell you how your character is going to act in the world. So if you're a lawful good character, you tend to be honor bound. You are extremely law abiding. You don't steal, you don't cheat, you don't break rules. You know, they are. When people think of lawful good, a lot of people think of like paladins. Just so goody two shoes that it's saccharine sweet, and it's just like, oh, you piece of garbage. I'm going to go rob this cart in front of you just to piss you off. And if you do, there's a very large chance that a lawful good person is going to turn you into the police or fight you over it. So you have to be very careful what sorts of alignments the characters in your party are going to be. A lawful good character and a chaotic evil character are probably not going to get along. It's going to be very hard to, you know, parse a lawful good and an evil. That was a yawn, but I stopped it. It's going to be very hard to parse a lawful good character getting along with anybody who's evil. So we're not going to do that. We're going to do chaotic good. We're going to be benevolent. We're going to be like, we're going to do good, but we're going to do good where it suits us. We want to make our own decisions, and we're pretty much going to do the good thing, but, you know, sometimes maybe we do good for our own purposes, but good. We do good. We done the goods. So you have your deities. There are a ridiculous amount of deities. Typically, you're going to have a deity that is within one bump of your alignment. So if you are chaotic good, you're going to be having a deity that is either chaotic good, neutral good, or lawful neutral. Can you be outside of that? Maybe, but you probably won't be. You probably don't want to be. For some people, that can actually mess up their character. I tend to not have a deity because I don't tend to have classes that need deities, so I don't always use that. This is where we were talking about like traits. So racial traits are things that will replace some of the things that you get as a basic race, but they can be beneficial to you. You know, instead of having the bonus feat, which I would never replace a bonus feat, but instead of having a bonus feat, you can have +2 to 1 ability score, bonus feat, and skilled. Actually, those are... Oh, no, that replaces that. Screw that. That's awful. Anyway, you can get certain stuff off of that. I don't want any of that stuff. It's not going to suit me. And down here, since we're humans, we get a +2 to 1 ability score. I'm going to say that because I'm being a monk, I would like to have that as strength. because I'm going to be punching things. So as you can see over here, we started off with all zeros, but we got +2 to 1 ability score. Thank you, computer. And so we now get a +1 up here on our strength. Now, this video is run kind of longish, and there's still so much more to cover. So we're going to go ahead and call this one, and we will continue this on in another video. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope that you have found this knowledgeable. If you have questions that I didn't cover so far up to your classes, your background, and some of that stuff, make sure you leave them down below. I will try and hit those. I am destroying my voice right now, and I don't know how or why. Probably because I smoke too much. I need to stop that, but I'm not going to. And once again, if you find this interesting, or if you want to see more of this content, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you want to know, and I will do my best to answer your questions. And thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Goodbye! Seriously, I think my voice is dying. Ah!